We're often asked about the boards that we use and that we choose to use. And for about 6 months now, I've been using the new Ensis Rock and Roll Ace, which is the one that we have in front of us. For me, this board is the perfect hybrid between the more conventional, older style, the short, stubby, squishy boards that we were using, and the more modern kind of mid-length boards that we've got. For me, I really enjoyed the mid-length experience. They get going quicker than a traditional board. However, I did feel that they were still quite long and also pretty narrow. So if you're going out in unstable conditions where it's choppy, they are a little bit harder to balance on, especially if they're sort of 21, 20 inches wide. This one is for me the perfect hybrid. It's not as long as a mid-length, but it is slightly wider. So South Coast UK, I find this is a really stable platform. What I like about the length is it gets going a bit quicker. It allows you to get traveling through the water a bit faster, which brings you up onto the foil a bit quicker. The width is perfect. I weigh about 80 kilos. This 67 is my all round board. I can use it when it's windy, when it's not windy. I can float around on it. It doesn't really sink too much. But when you do get up and going, it feels small enough to be agile and maneuverable. Some of the key differences in this is from the front foot strap forwards, you've got a little bit more nose length, which when you're wave riding, if you're coming around and hitting the white water, it just seems to catch that white water a bit friendlier than a really short board does. It's also got a bit more sticking out the tail. And whether it's true or not, I find that helps me pump up onto the foil. I can kind of like get that seesaw motion going with my legs a bit easier and it brings it up. If we look at the underside of the board, it's interesting. The foil is slightly further forward and it has got a bit of tail rocker to it. Again, I think that helps the release. I really like the beveled edges. When you're going along, if you do have a touchdown with the rail, it bounces off pretty nicely. If you have sharp rails here, they can catch and straighten you up, and that's a bit uncomfortable. It's got a handle, which is convenient. And then moving forward, it's got quite a flat section on the nose, a little double concave in this area here, but this area is quite flat. And what that means is when you touch down, the slight double concave does absorb that a little bit. But having this area flat means that when you're pumping up onto the floor, you can really slap it hard against the water, which bounces you up and gets you going. Um, I also like how the sort of squash tail, a bit like a surfboard, it's quite sharp at the back. I feel that gives you good water release. It doesn't have a lot of drag off the rail here. And the ace is the construction. So it's Ensis's premium construction. I find the board is light, but it feels really robust. The other thing to mention is they have got a bit more volume in the nose. There's a little lip here, which you might not be able to see, but that gives you a bit more volume in the nose. So when you're floating around or getting going, kind of helps you bring the nose up and out the water. Um, for me, I'm no freestyler, but I do like to do some jumps coming from a windsurfing background. I find this board really comfortable to jump. It seems to float. You seem to be able to control it nice and easily in the air. And when you do land, you've got enough nose length to absorb that landing and carry on. It's a great board. I definitely would try it out if you get the opportunity. It's well made, it looks cool, and it works so well in all conditions, whether it's overhead waves or flat water freestyle. It's a fantastic board just for general use. And it's the board that I choose when I go on holiday to destinations like Cape Verde, where you've got flat water, but you also got big waves. So if you've got any questions, please feel free to give us a mention. We're always here to help and like, comment, all that stuff. And yeah, enjoy.